Alex had the highest performance rating on his team 3 years in a row. He trained 2 people who both got promoted above him. He asked his manager about it every review cycle. He was told he was, quote, almost ready. Alex is not a real person, but if you've been in the workforce for more than 4 years, you either are Alex or you work next to him. What Alex never knew, what his company made absolutely sure he would never find out, is that his name had been in a box labeled "No Movement Planned" for 2 of those 3 years. The plan was never for Alex to move up. The plan was for Alex to stay. Let me start with what most people believe. You believe your job is safe as long as you perform. You believe layoffs happen to people who weren't pulling their weight. You believe that if you stay loyal, work hard, and keep your head down, the company will take care of you. That belief is the most expensive mistake you'll ever make. Not because companies are evil, but because the machine that decides your fate doesn't run on loyalty. It runs on math. And the math started weeks before you noticed anything. Maybe months. Here's how it actually works, step by step. From the moment the decision is made, to the moment your laptop goes black. This is just one piece of what's really happening at work. Like it so more people wake up. Share it with a colleague who needs this reality check. Subscribe Workplace Decoded to start playing smarter, not just harder. Step 1. The number. It doesn't start with your performance review. It doesn't start with a complaint about you. It starts in a room you'll never enter, with a conversation between the CEO and the CFO. And that conversation is brutally simple. We need to cut costs by X%. That's it. Not who isn't performing. Not who deserves to stay. A percentage. A number. Sometimes decided in under an hour. In 2025, U.S. corporate profits hit $3.36 trillion, nearly double what they were in 2020. Companies weren't failing. They were cutting anyway. Because the number wasn't about survival. It was about the quarterly earnings call. It was about what the stock price does next Thursday. Step 2. The Cascade. Once the CEO has the number, it gets passed down. CEO to C-suite, C-suite to VPs, VPs to directors. Each level gets a target. Your division needs to cut 18%. Your team needs to cut 22%. Your manager? They find out the same day you do. Sometimes the day before. At most. That is not an oversight. That is design. Because if your manager knew 2 weeks early, they might warn you. They might fight for you. They might show emotion in a meeting and complicate things. The system removes their ability to protect you on purpose. The people who know your work the best are the last people who get a vote. Step 3. The room. This is the part nobody talks about. At the director level, above your manager, there is a meeting. No calendar invite goes to you. No one mentions it in the all hands. But in that meeting, someone has a spreadsheet. Every row is a person. Every column is a number. Salary, tenure, rating, project, role. One insider, a director who has sat in this meeting multiple times, described watching a CTO move Post-it notes around a whiteboard. Each Post-it was a person. He was moving them around like chess pieces. If we cut this senior engineer, we can keep 4 juniors. This team's project is being sunset anyway. Eliminate the whole unit. You are a variable in an equation, not a person in a conversation. They don't know how good you are. They know what column you're in. Step 4. The criteria. And why you're wrong about it. You think they cut the lowest performers. Sometimes, but not as often as you think. Here's what actually drives the list. Your salary relative to your output, not your output alone. Whether your role is strategic or operational in the new org design. Whether your skill can be replicated by someone with a lower title. Whether your project has a future or is quietly being shut down. Whether your name is known at the VP level or only to your immediate manager. And sometimes, who argued for you in the room. Because if your director wasn't there or didn't speak up, no one else will. One VP protected his entire team by framing them as critical infrastructure in the meeting. Another VP's team, equally talented, got cut because he wasn't assertive enough in the room. Your career was decided in a meeting you weren't in by a VP who may have barely known your name. Step 5. The paper trail. Now here is the part that should genuinely disturb you. Once your name is on the list, especially for what companies call performance-based separations, they don't just cut you. They build a case. Suddenly, Your manager is documenting things that were never documented before. Minor things. Missed deadlines that no one cared about last quarter. A meeting where you seemed disengaged. An email where your tone was slightly off. HR schedules a check-in. Then comes the PIP, the Performance Improvement Plan. And here's what they will never tell you. A PIP is almost never designed for you to succeed. 53% of U.S. businesses have used what experts call quiet firing tactics, managing people out slowly, legally, quietly, to avoid the cost and optics of a formal layoff. The PIP is the paper trail that makes it look like your fault. It protects the company legally. It reduces what they owe you in severance. You sign it because you still believe this is about helping you improve. It isn't. It's documentation. Step 6. The silence before it happens. There's a window, usually 2 to 6 weeks, between when the list is finalized and when you're told. Everything looks normal. Your manager still says good morning. You still get meeting invites. The company Slack is still full of GIFs and birthday announcements. But in the background, IT has already been notified. Legal has already reviewed the list. HR has already written the script they'll read to you. Your severance package, if you're getting one, is already calculated. They've already decided. They're just waiting for the right Tuesday. Why Tuesday? Because companies have learned that Monday layoffs feel cruel. Friday layoffs ruin weekends and cause PR problems. Everything looks normal. Until it doesn't. Step 7. The moment. You get a calendar invite. No agenda. Just your name, your manager's name, and an HR name you don't recognize. 30 minutes. Some people found out because their laptop simply stopped working. You're still sitting at your desk. The laptop is right there in front of you, but the screen is black. In 1 minute, you're part of a team. The next, your access to Slack and email is removed. It's like you've been digitally erased. The call itself is 15 minutes. They read from a script, legally reviewed, carefully worded. They will not deviate from it. And then it's over. Years of your life. 15 minutes. Here's what happens to the people who never saw this coming. They spent years believing performance was protection. They were never the best performers. They were the people who understood that in a corporation, proximity to power matters more than proximity to results. They were loyal to a system that was tracking their salary, not their loyalty. And the day the laptop goes black, they are genuinely shocked, because no one ever showed them the process. There's a term psychologists use for this, task focus bias. You become so good at doing the work that you stop watching the environment the work is happening in. And by the time the environment shifts, your name is already on a list in a room you'll never see. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Underneath all of this, companies are not meritocracies. They are political organisms. And when resources get scarce, they protect their vital organs first. The vital organs are the people with visibility at the levels where lists are made. You can be objectively excellent and professionally invisible at the same time. And in a layoff spreadsheet, invisible and expendable are the same word. There's one more thing no one talks about. Companies increasingly hire outside consulting firms specifically to make the layoff list. Not because consultants know your work better, but because it gives executives cover. They get to say, it was a strategic restructuring recommendation. Instead of, we moved post-it notes around a whiteboard for 45 minutes. It's not a business decision. It's a theater production. And the script was written before you walked on stage. So what do the people who survive actually do differently? They make their work visible above their manager, not bragging. Strategic. They ensure that when someone 2 levels up is in a meeting, their name comes up attached to something that matters. They build internal advocates, not for politics, but because when the list is being debated, you need someone in that room who says, wait, we can't lose that person. They document their own wins, because when your director needs to argue for you, they need ammunition. Give it to them. And they never stop looking at the external market. Not disloyalty. Security. What was the first sign you felt something was off? Before anyone told you anything. Drop it below. I read every single one. Because in a world where 78% of HR leaders call layoffs a regular event, your security can't live inside one company's decision anymore. The question isn't whether this system exists. You've just watched it run, step by step. The question is, what are you going to do now that you finally know how it works? Because the people who understand this don't panic. They don't overreact. They just move differently. Because the people who adapt to this reality don't become bitter. They become the person no one puts on a list.